All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who dwell. Peace, blessings, salutations to those for elect that is out there pushing, laboring, believing, and listening on to this truth with heart sincerity. All right, and may the blessing of election be upon your houses. All right, the title and topic of this lesson is going to be, all right, chastening brings correction. All right, chastening brings correction. And I want to start off with this right here. This is Job, the 5th chapter, verse 17, and it reads, Behold, happy is the man whom the Most High correcteth. Therefore, despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. All right. So when we are chastised in this place, ultimately it is a good thing, man. All right, because the Lord is correcting us, man. All right. And also, I do have the etymology for the word chastise. All right, bring it out. Okay, and this is it right here. Highlight it up. All right. It reads to inflict pain upon, to punish, and recall to duty, to punish for the purpose of correcting or reclaiming. All right. So the Lord is chastising us. All right, for the purpose of correction. All right, to recall to duty. All right, to reclaim us, man. All right. So ultimately, the full outcome of that is a good outcome. All right. When you look at people that do sports, when you look at people in the military and so forth, man. All right. They go through a period where they are chastised, where they get tried, right? Where they have to prove themselves, right? Where they are getting, built up. All right. Going through that, correction period and so forth, man. All right. And that's the same thing, or the same way we could look at it when it comes down to this truth, man. Right? Because we get chastised in this place, man. We got to go through that fire, like the scripture says, man. We have to go through that proving ground, right? Battling these demons, you know, dealing with these demons on the highways and hedges, you know, getting mocked and scoffed at, man. All right, you know, dealing with demons at your jobs and so forth, man. All right, going through the walk, your walk in this place, man. All right, so we go through, being chastised in this place, man. All right, you know. However, all right, the purpose of that is to, you know, honestly embetter us, correct us, prepare us, for the kingdom. All right, and putting us through that fire, man. All right, because anything that is worth, uh, 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 how that saying go? Anything that's worth fighting for, anything that's really worth, gaining or receiving. All right, you have to ultimately put in work for it, man. All right, okay. You don't see anybody, wake up one day and then, next thing you know, they're in the NBA or next thing you know, they're in the NFL. No, they have to go through that proving ground, right? They have to get, you know, chastised. They gotta, go through that fire. You know, they have to put in that work ultimately, man. All right. Want to grab this in Isaiah 48:10. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction, right? So ultimately, what the Lord is doing, He is, putting us through that fire, right? He is refining us, He's purifying us, right? He's purging off the wicked things, the things of this world, all right? You know, and preparing us to be rulers, preparing us to inherit the kingdom, man. All right. This is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, the second chapter, verse 4, and it reads, Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state, man. So, hey, anything that is thrown at us, all these different trials and tribulation, the different chastising, the different, things that we have to go through this place. Hey, take it cheerfully, man. All right. You may be driving, you catch a flat. Hey, kahalam like how about Shem out shy, man. All right. Because, hey, you never know. Hey, the Lord could have, spared you from, getting in a big ass wreck, getting pulled over, and so forth, man. All right. So, whatever, is brought upon us, man, like the scripture says, take cheerfully, man. All right. Better to have that cup half full than the cup half empty mindset. All right. Verse 5 For gold is tried in fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. All right. So we have to go through that fire, man. We have to go through that proving ground, man. All right. We have to go through, you know, getting, attacked by demons, plagued by demons, right? Being vexed by people in this world, man. All right. These different trials and tribulations, being tempted and so forth, man. All right. That is all part of that proving ground. That is all part of that purification process, going through that fire, right? So if you're being chastised, if you catching hell, hey, that's a good thing, man. All right. Okay. Because when we look at these people in this world, right, it's people that's quote unquote winning, people that have, all these resources and money and fame and so forth. All right. They not catching hell. They living it up in this place, man. All right, because they sold their souls, right? They gave in, they bowed their knee, you know, to receive their consolation in this place, man. To receive their piece of the pie in this place, man. All right, you know. However, the latter outcome of those people is gonna be a terrible judgment, man. You know, they got a saying, "Laugh now, cry later," man. You know, but right now, we are going through that hell. We are going through the chastening. We're going through the fire. We're going through the purification process, the proving process, you know, because we understand the latter outcome to come, the reward to come is well worth it. It's far more exceeding than anything that you can receive on this side. You know, the things that this place could offer you is temporal, corruptible. You know, honestly, truly, BS, man. All right. Like Scripture says in Corinthians, really paraphrase, we look not at things which are seen, but at things which are not seen. All right, because the things which are seen in this place are temporal, carnal things, man. But we are going through that fire, going through a chastening, all right, to inherit, the kingdom, to receive those great rewards that is waiting on us. The great rewards that Yahweh Shem Shah has stored for us, man. All right. So when we getting chastised and we going through hell, we going through different trials, tribulations, like the scripture says, you know, in Sirach, the fourth chapter I just read, take it cheerfully, man. All right, it is a good thing to be chastised, man. Because what does chastening do? When we went into the etymology of the word chastise, right? To bring correction, you know. So the Lord is truly building us up and preparing us, all right, for the kingdom. All right. So we're going through all this ultimately. We're going through all this for a good thing, man, for our embetterment. This is Hebrews, the 12th chapter, verse 7. It reads, "If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not?" Right? Exactly. All right. Whenever a parent has a child, all right, they chastise their child, man. They give them that rod of correction, man. If the child is misbehaving, they need to correct that child, right? They chastise them, man. Whether they put them in a timeout, whatever the case may be, to get that rod of correction on them, you know, they punish them in whatever various way it may be, all right? And when a father does that, a parent does that to their child, all right, they're not doing that because they hate their child. They're not doing that, to destroy their child. They're doing that to correct and build up their child, man. You know how they say a teaching moment, a learning moment. All right, you know, like the scripture says, train up a child in a way that he shall go. All right, he shall not depart from it. All right, and you could tell, you could tell with how a lot of these people carry themselves nowadays. You could tell that they weren't, you know, trained up in the proper way. You could tell their parents didn't chastise them. When you look at the state of people in Babylon in today's day and age, man. All right, because these people are far gone and destroyed, man. All right, it is a trend to be destroyed out here, pretty much, man. All right, okay. So if we are being chastised by how by Shemal Shah, then it is a good thing because the scripture says, then the Most High deal with you as with sons, man. That is a true act of love. You know, that is a true act of love. And you even hear this when, growing up, your parent, your mom or your dad might, punish you. They'll say sometimes, I'm not doing this because I hate you. I'm doing this because I love you, man. You know, and that's facts. Okay, chastising is a is a crucial thing that is needed, man. Especially in this wicked place where there's so many things to try to destroy you, man. All right, so you need that correction ultimately, man. All right, you need to go through that chastising. All right, this is Matthew 24 verse 13. All right, and it reads, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." And that's ultimately the reward that we are out here laboring and fighting for. Right, we are fighting for salvation. We are fighting to be found pleasing in sight. How about Shemal Shah to be, saved out of this wicked place before the, ultimate final destruction falls upon this place, man. All right, but we must endure. Right, we must push and fight and endure through the chastening, endure through the fire. Right, prove ourselves. How bad do we really want it? How bad do we want the kingdom? How bad do you want to receive salvation, man? Right? We have to prove ourselves, man, and endure. All right? These are things that is, you know, needed, man. All right? Okay. Again, going back again to the sports analogies, man. All these professional athletes you see, right? They have to go through, that proving process, man. You know, they didn't quit. They didn't give up. They kept on enduring until they ultimately received, reached their goal of, getting into whatever, league it may have been, man. And that is the mindset that we must have, man. You know, quitting should not be an option. Failure should not be an option. Falling out, damn sure shouldn't be an option, man. Right? We must endure through all the things that is thrown before us, man. Again, like I said in Sirach, endure hardness, man. You know, whatever is brought before us, we must endure. And the scriptures brings us true comfort because it lets us know that the chastening that comes from the Lord is ultimately coming from a good place, coming for correction. All right, you know, okay. So that is the mindset that we should have in this place on a consistent basis, man. All right, to endure through chastening. So whenever we get in chastised, we take it, whole with a good heart, man. We take it cheerfully, man. All right, and we keep pushing, man. All right, because the Lord is trying to prepare us to be the next rulers, man. All right, but we must prove ourselves, man, and continually endure. But hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the elect of Israel. With that being said, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach Chodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Ruel. Peace, blessings, salutations to those for elect that is out there pushing, laboring, believing, and listening on to this truth with heart sincerity. Until next time, shalom, and above all, Kwam Yasharallah, shalom.